Before we go into that, I actually have a story that I had told a little bit earlier. Um, so a monk decided to meditate alone away from the monastery. So he had gone to the monastery uh, to uh, be in peace, and he found that there were too many people there, and he was not too happy trying to meditate with others. So he said, like, I want to meditate alone. So he takes a boat out into a middle of a huge lake that was nearby, and uh, you know, got his board right in the middle, and then said like, okay, I'll this is peaceful place, I'm alone, let me meditate here. So after a few hours of undisturbed silence, he suddenly feels uh, that somebody has hit the boat. um, so his peace is shattered, and you know, so this boat is now, um, you know, there was a huge noise, and so he was very unhappy that even in this remote, you know, location where he thought he was alone, somebody is trying to disturb his peace. So he tries to keep his eyes closed. He tries to continue to meditate, and then there is another, you know, thud with the boat that had hits his boat. So the anger within him rises, and he is ready to scream at the, you know, whoever is disturbing his peace. So uh, you know, after making some effort to continue to meditate, which he couldn't, he now opens his eyes, very angry. And what he finds is there is an empty boat. So an empty boat somehow came in the middle of the lake and had shaken the peace that he was in. And now he had nobody else to scream at. And he was like, suddenly he realized the anger was not because of somebody else, the anger was within. And that suddenly was a huge realization for himself. And so eh, what he learned that day was that the other person who he thinks is disturbing the peace is nothing but an empty boat, right? The anger is actually within me. It's not being triggered. Uh, so in reality, we all have these things that, you know, disturb the peace. Yes. So this is, you know, for all these emotions and a lot of these negative emotions which disturb our peace are, you know, we think that it's a situation or the person that is causing that, but somehow it's the empty boat that provokes it. So uh, on that note, Eddie, let's talk a little bit about how the younger generation can focus, and that applies to everybody. I mean, you know, even age doesn't change anything. Like positive habits, I think even today, uh, you know, I can change a lot of things in my life to be more peaceful. Um, so, so we're just going to discuss that a little bit, the power of positive habits today, and then we will discuss or practice what we have discussed in the sense like the most positive habit that Guru Maharaj, my grandfather who started this process in 1930, he basically gave a process through which we can really gain lasting peace in our lives. So we'll get to that. So Eddie, can you?
Okay. Yes. Hello, Sanjeev ji. Good day, everyone. We want to talk a little bit about positive habits through the lens of what we call, or what we're calling, the perfect day. So most people would consider a perfect day to be one without suffering or negativity. Unfortunately, there are times when we encounter unfriendly situations with others, and despite our best efforts, we struggle to remain calm and peaceful in these encounters. Instead, we may become emotional and respond in harmful ways. We may mistakenly believe that external factors cause our discomfort rather than looking within ourselves. We tend to think that if people behave with consideration and respect, we would have a conflict free and peaceful day. Nonetheless, these situations can lead to unwanted suffering and make us more susceptible to illness. Therefore, we must learn to be resilient and manage our stress in such in such cases by learning effective stress management techniques. But before we get to that, we need to understand a little more about ourselves. As human beings, we all possess inherent wisdom, knowledge of truth, and a natural state of peace and joy known as transcendental light. While modern self improvement courses can help achieve this state, they cannot surpass the qualities we already possess. It is essential to nurture and protect our transcendental light, especially during difficult times, to maintain our emotional balance. The key to resilient, the key to a resilient, calm, and joyful heart is accumulating and preserving our transcendental light while refraining from any harmful actions or habits that may drain it. So we're going to talk about the two primary ways now in which our transcendental light can be drained. The first results from what we call bad habits and bad behavior. And the second, from our negative responses when interacting with others. Regarding the first case of bad behavior, jealousy, desire, envy, and negative thinking can agitate the heart and mind, thus causing our transcendental light to get drained. But the most significant cause of loss of transcendental light is due to the bad habits of lack of humility. Believing that you are more important than others and engaging in showy acts of materialism is not only the most effective way to dissipate your transcendental light, still, it is also the greatest hindrance to achieving eternal joy and peace. The apparent solution regarding the causative effect of bad behavior is to basically stop the bad behavior. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done. Adopting and implementing behaviors consistent with good character is challenging, if not impossible. Self examination of your struggles to eradicate bad habits should serve as a persuasion of this truth. So, how do we break our bad habits and manifest good habits? The problem is the same solution as draining transcendental light when we interact with others. But before we give that solution, let's briefly discuss the process of negatively responding to upsetting events during our interaction with others. Upon experiencing irritation while interacting with others, we often habitually respond with an adverse reaction, such as screaming, swearing, or getting angry. Such reactions cause disturbances in the heart and mind, resulting in the outflow of transcendental light from the body. So, why is transcendental light so important? Why do we need it? What is its role? As beings, our inherent nature is one of tranquility and bliss, and we are infused with a divine radiance or transcendental light. The more of this radiance we possess, the closer we are to the origin of our existence, and the more serene and joyful we become. In this state, we are more capable of withstanding unfriendly and hostile encounters. Conversely, when we have less of this divine radiance, our bodies become more solid, and our consciousness becomes more attached to earthly matters. And while in this state, we are more susceptible to the adverse effects of hostile interactions. Maintaining a high divine radiance is crucial for sustaining peace and joy in our life. Unfortunately, opposing forces may attempt to drain this energy from us and divert it towards worldly matters. Our destructive behaviors, such as hatred, jealousy, and harsh criticism, dissipate the divine radiance into the material world. We become depleted, tired, and miserable in the most severe cases. Therefore, when we encounter hostile individuals, we cannot remain joyful, peaceful, or calm, thus ending basically our perfect day. So, what is the solution to our problem? And we propose a simple solution, and it's Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method that infuses transcendental light into our body where it can accumulate. Satsang can eliminate destructive emotional responses to irritating events and helps us eliminate bad habits and also develop good character. With Satsang, we become resilient in the face of challenging circumstances and are able to preserve our calm hearts and peaceful mind. Lastly, practicing Satsang has a lifelong effect that preserves transcendental light and promotes good character. It quiets the heart and gives us a peaceful mind and happiness within our life. Sanjeevji?
So to summarize, and thanks, Eddie, for being so articulate. To summarize, what we're saying here is that we want to imbibe positive energy within us. And that would give us the inner strength and the energy that will create positive change within us. I have seen personally personal transformations happen through satsang. So now we will practice how to energize, fill ourselves with this positive and uplifting energy. And if we practice this on a regular basis, and one of the things that Addie was talking about is that, there is a lot of negative energy that we interact with through the day. So morning and evening, if you replenish just 10 minutes, 15 minutes of this process of re-energizing yourself with positive energy. So that's what we will practice. We are here in Toronto, so I will describe it in Hindi as well. There are a lot of people here who, this collective energy also helps individual practice. So how we do it is pretty simple, but very powerful. Sit in a relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed. And so both of those things have a very important role here. Eyes lightly closed because we want to stop the sensory input that distracts our mind. And still and relaxed posture is important because every time our body moves, mind gets distracted as well. So simple, relaxed and still posture, eyes lightly closed. And now think of this transcendental energy in form of light in front of you that's entering your heart and distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming one with this light. When mind wanders away and you realize that, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that you are in the presence of this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming one with this light. We'll start with music. Music helps the concentration, and then we will go in deep, silent meditation on transcendental light, and then we'll transition out with music again. So I'll repeat this process in Hindi. तो अभी हम लोग जैसा गुरु महाराज ने हमको बताया वो ध्यान करेंगे. ध्यान की क्रिया, उसमें परमात्मा का प्रकाश सामने से हमारे हृदय में आ रहा है, रोम रोम में फैलता चला जा रहा है और हम उस प्रकाश में लय होते चले जा रहे हैं. उससे पहले आंखें हल्के से बंद कर लें. एक सुख आसन से ऐसा बैठ जाएं जिसमें हिलना डुलना ना हो, क्योंकि हर बार जब हम हिलते डुलते हैं तो मन इधर उधर जाता है. पहले कुछ म्यूजिक के साथ जिससे हमारी मन की एकाग्रता बढ़े, उससे शुरू करेंगे. उसके बाद ध्यान चलता रहेगा और म्यूजिक के साथ इसको हम रैप अप करेंगे. तो एक बार मैं फिर बता दूं कि परमात्मा का प्रकाश सामने से हमारे हृदय में आ रहा है, रोम रोम में फैलता चला जा रहा है और हम उस प्रकाश में लय होते चले जा रहे हैं. So let's start. So we will open it up for question and answers now. I'll start with something that comes up very often. But Onkar, Shivangi, Luz, and Eddie, I think you'll have to coordinate. I can't see the screen or who's there from here. So one question that comes up is like, how does satsang help in worry and anxiety? And as I was translating some material from Guru Maharaj's work, what he described around inner peace is that when you meditate, especially deep silent meditation, you are getting centered in the present moment. The worry and anxiety is basically when your mind gets stuck either in the past or the future, and then starts creating a non-stop sequence of thoughts. If you focus and stop that going into the past or future by just focusing on one thought, for example, then this process of going in the past or future is non-existent. And when that happens, there is, at least for that time, there is no worry or anxiety. And then slowly you can expand that from there. So it gives you peace and quiet for the time of meditation initially, and when you practice, this becomes more of a lifestyle in itself. So anything online that people want to share? Yeah. It's okay. Let them speak.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to pop in and just say hi. Thank you so much again. Happy Saturday. And thank you so much, as always, for a great meditation. It was really intense and powerful for me today. And so I appreciate that. I think I owe that to you all. I really liked the story that you started with, Sanjeev, and I liked Eddie's talk. The story that you told resonated with me a lot, Sanjeev. I am often that little monk that wants to go off into the silence alone and, pretend that I know what I'm doing. But the minute something bothers me, I'm totally knocked off course. And I think that is the heart of it, right? Like a lot of people who turn to meditation think that it's gonna solve all their problems, but it's not the only solution. It's also making it a practice, right? Like it's incorporating that and also having the right intentions. That's what makes it transformative. Maybe all those ingredients, having the right intentions, being able to truly weather any storm and not let it knock you off course. And that would really require intentional meditation. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
And what you just reminded everyone is, like, in yoga philosophy, yam and niyam, there are the qualities that you want to have and the qualities you don't want to have. All those are listed there. But how do you implement that? So implementing that would require discipline, require some meditation, positive energy. So to get to a better behavior, we need satsang, and then it's like a you know, it aids or helps the transformation, as you said. So meditation in itself it provides you the energy and light, but it's the implementation of yam and niyam, or the behavioral changes, that brings the ongoing transformation. Well said.
You said it a lot better, but thank you.
So anything else, Eddie? Do you want to touch upon any? You want to highlight anything that we discussed in the beginning?
That was a good story, and I'm going to have to get that from you in writing.
Yeah.
I can do it again, but I wanted to bring up one point, because a lot of habits are just bad behavior that we do over and over again. But a lot of the current thought in the world is that when someone attacks you, you attack back. And so when we perceive someone as irritating us, instead of being what they say is the bigger person and walk away, and you'll feel better about it, we in turn sort of attack, because we believe that it'll make us feel 10 times better, actually, than just walking away. And so that's something that we partake in. But that's just a bad habit that I see a lot in society. And that's just one thing that I just want to make people aware of, is that it's not going to help you. You know, it's not the proper behavior. So we should probably refrain from, that thing called attack. And the source of that probably comes from ego. I don't know, maybe you can help me out there, but it probably comes from our ego and not wanting to be attacked or weak, and have the perception of being the strongest person in the world. And, you can't tolerate someone attacking you. But it's just something I brought up because I see a lot of that kind of bad behavior, bad habits in this world.
Yeah, you bring a interesting point. What I find is that the more insecurities we have, or the more shallow our spiritual strength is, the more we feel that then we react more negatively. It's interesting. So as with Panchkosh, or the 5 steps that we talk about in this pyramid, so from a materialistic to the most spiritual state, where we have light, love, and peace, when we grow through that vertical climb, our ability to be strong within helps us to tolerate, to think before we react. Satsang helps in that, in the way that, once you are strong and complete within yourself, your reactions are very different. Anyway, we can go on on and on that topic.
Does that mean that we'll have to let go of all the material then? Right.
So the question here is in the so we are here in Toronto with the Satsang family, and the question is that do we have to give the material things up to do what?
To be calm, and you talked about, right? You'll have to. There's a pyramid that you talked about, right?
Yeah.
From material, you said
To the most spiritual love, light, and peace.
Exactly. So it narrows, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to let go of all the material.
So a lot of people ask this question that if I want to be peaceful, if I want to achieve spiritual strength and like go to the top of that pyramid, because it is seen that, people give up materialism, they even give up family, they give up and go to the Himalayas, to the monastery. We were talking about this monk. So do we have to give up materialism to get to the top? What Guru Maharaj described, or Dada Guru, both of them believe that spirituality is about becoming a better person, a real human being. So you don't have to give up everything, but your behavior will change, right? You will, if you get to the top, you will transform. So there are 2 or 3 things that might happen. So like my father was, in the university teaching chemistry. My eldest uncle was a doctor, right? Guru Maharaj's sons. So they did their worldly duties, right? Now, they did not climb up, by stepping on someone else, for example, right? They would not harm somebody to help themselves, right? You become a better human being. Some people might think, oh, that's not, it's a, it's like a very competitive world. And so if you become a better human being, you will be more peaceful yourself. You will be more peaceful with other people as well as the nature, right? What we see happening around the world, where for my own good, I'm doing bad to others, right? Is that really what we want to do? Because eventually that, what you row, you see, you reap. So what happens is that sometimes, like, somebody said something to me and they might not even mean it, and I get very angry, right? If I use a little bit of this, so satsang gives me ability to introspect. Satsang gives me ability to think before I react, right? All that changes my behavior, right? So especially for the younger people, my take is that, and I applied this myself, like, if you are more focused, if you have better ability to concentrate, if you have better ability to think straight, then you will be materialistically better too, right? But you will not give up your values to go to the top. Sometimes we only see who's at the top. What we don't see is the path that they took, right? So it's not about, showing that I have this, and this. It is also, what are my values, how peaceful I am, how content I am. So what happens is, once I'm spiritually mature, I'm very complete. I'm not lonely anymore. I'm not, I don't compare, I don't compete. So people think that, this is not ambitious enough, right?
Probably some food for my thought.
Yeah.
Namaste, Vijay.
Yeah.
There's a question in chat.
Yeah.
They ask, in Guru Maharaj's book, Guru Maharaj ji mentions that milte julte rehna chahiye, but it looks like it's difficult to do today with our geography. And it seems like its significance is missing. So how do we deal with that?
So, so basically, Guru Maharaj talked about like, come and meet me whenever you can, because I described this in a video called Love, Light, and Peace as the target state of satsang. So in satsang, when you are at the top of the pyramid, पंचकोश में आनंदमय कोश के ऊपर जब हम पहुंच जाते हैं, तो शांति, आनंद, प्रकाश इतना हो जाता है कि we are just we share that without doing anything. So when you are at the top, your peace, light, and love is infectious. It's people just meet you and they feel the peace, they feel the light, they feel the love, unconditional love. So that's why he said, like, if you will meet me, you will get all these qualities without doing anything, right? And I have seen it. We all, in some way, shape, or form, have experienced that. If so the question becomes, how do we implement that now? And when we do satsang, we are essentially doing that only. So in-person meeting is very important. The way we are meeting here in Toronto in person, that's very important because the collective energy helps our individual practice. So I think now individual satsang, group satsang, and staying connected through the books or other means, I think gets you the same results.
Vayaji, there's another question in chat, and
Okay.
this is an interesting one. So Amit Kumarji from Bangalore is asking, I believe that during meditation, our surroundings should not affect us and we should achieve a state of perfect concentration. However, after we finish our regular meditation session, we say phrases like "bas kijiye" or "end it." The concern is, if we are truly in deep state of meditation, how are we still able to hear these phrases? Has anyone in our Ramashram Satsang family ever achieved a state where external influences are entirely blocked during meditation, apart from Guru Jan, or is it even possible?
Wow. Wow, that's a deep one.
You want me to answer?
Jay?
Yes, many people have achieved that. And I have personally definitely witnessed those. That when they are in meditation, you go on saying anything and they don't listen. I have personally seen that. And in fact, many of our satsangis, sometimes when they really meditate in the morning and evening, and especially in the midnight, they do achieve that. And they can feel that, even you can feel that when you go in the deep meditation and forget about this meditation, even if you are reading a book, with the very full concentration, and somebody comes and tells you something and you don't listen. So these are the part of that. But you asked another question, is that when we say bus, how can you hear that? And that's the beauty of this satsang. When you are sitting in the meditation in the group, it is impossible how deep you go into the meditation when the bus is said, because this method goes heart to heart. And the heart is awake, very mild way, but it is definitely the heart is awake, because if the heart is dead, then you are no longer in this body. And that's why when we say the bus, especially, so this Param Pujya Guru Maharaj has derived that system that it definitely touches the heart and everybody will listen that. So this is the answer for the second question. And the first question, yes, it is possible. And even you can, even a 10-day satsangi can feel that if he, and him, as I said, when you are reading a very interesting book, you don't listen sometimes. So definitely, that's the state of mind. You are supposed to get it while you are meditating.
So, so actually, you gave this example of reading a book, and a lot of us might have done that. I'm reading a book, and there is a party going on, or there is, loud music. I don't hear that. I'm focused in my book. However, it's not that, my concentration is on the book, but if somebody, yeah, it's like somebody persists, then they will be responded to, right? So samadhi, according to Guru Maharaj, is nothing but as you're reading the book, you go deep into it and you forget about the surroundings. One thing that, this particular method that Guru Maharaj, packaged together for us does is, yes, we go into deep meditation, but we are in awake state. So it's not that we're completely shut down. And that's the key. So Kabir Das ji talks about Sahaj Samadhi, which is like I am with open eyes, without closing my ears, I feel the presence. So doing everything, but in an awake state is the target state of spirituality in some ways. So yeah,
That's the final target.
Yeah, that's the target state.
That's even above the Anand miracles.
So are we ready to wrap up then?
Really, there is another question in chat.
Okay.
भाई साहब नमस्कार मेरे को तो निकलना है देवेंद्र जी नमस्कार I don't know whether we can unmute ourselves or not.
Yeah, we are listening you and namaskar.
No, bus so namaskar. Namaskar Devenji. I promised I will try to join one session. I made good on my promise. So, thank you. It was
So share some something, Pradeep, now that you have unmuted yourself.
Now, मेरे को तो I think I was reading आपका जो current conversation है उसके बारे में we were reading a letter from Guru Maharaj. He wrote, somebody asked him, it's from by the time he has moved to Mathura actually, so it's a 55 answer. तो उन्होंने उसमें लिखा है कि चलते फिरते उसकी याद बनाए रखना. Actually, I can I don't want to because it is relevant to it. I read it last Sunday. कि शरीर जितना सहन कर सके उतना ही भजन ठीक होता है. लेट के या बैठ के करने में कोई हर्ज नहीं है. चलते फिरते उसकी याद रखना ही भजन कहलाता है और भजन कुछ नहीं है. मन बिना बंधन के काबू में नहीं आता, इसीलिए ये सब नियम बना दिए गए. बच्चों को प्रेम. So this whole idea that you were discussing about this all being, feeling that presence while you are doing your day-to-day work, that's the living. And actually, I think I will quote it. I am tempted to quote that this Antarik Satsang itself, by definition, and I am repeating what I said last Sunday, that a people or culture if they know something and understand something, generally they will have a term for it, and that thing becomes part of their vocabulary. So Guru Maharaj has named it Antarik Satsang. If you break it down, Antarik is inwards or internal, Sat is eternal, and Sang is company. So you can think of this process as taking a journey inward to be with our eternal selves, which is beyond the waves of actions, emotions, and thoughts. And this same expression is found in a letter by Rabindranath Tagore to his daughter in 1927, where he says, in the depth of our souls, there is a place of eternal peace where our eternal self lives beyond the death and birth and joys and sorrows and gains and loss of this world. If we can find a room for ourselves there, then it is living. Earthly living is not living at all. So the process, while it sounds very simple, it gets you to that place where you are doing your work and still you are must. So.
Okay, so I think I will transcribe this and then work with you to define Antrik Satsang the way you just did. I think this is awesome.
That was the last question.
Yeah, so what was the last question, Shivangi?
Ji Bhaiya ji. So they're asking, we talk about Prakash, light from Paramatma and Guru Maharaj. How do we visualize that? Sometimes it can be misunderstood with materialistic lights.
Wow. आप करें? Oh.
बीच में शक्ति तो मूव करने की जरूरत नहीं है। हाँ, दोनों बीच।
मेरे पास रहता।
Ha. See, there are two ways, or it can be put in different words, in different ways that we see things. One thing we see with this sthul netra, means this our physical eyes, but we also see things which we think we understand and we see in the light of our knowledge. So this light, what we are talking about is, it's coming from the Param Puja Guru Maharaj, the light of knowledge. And the light rays we don't see. You can see like a bulb is lighted, but you don't see the rays, the bulb, from which we are, so you don't see. But you still know that I see the light. But actually the light is meant that in the light you can see different things altogether. You don't need to see the light. You need to see the things because of the light. So when your eternal light is lighted, and that's what in Hindi we call it vivek, or in English we can call it wisdom or something. So when you possess wisdom, and that's what is we get from this meditation or from this Guru Maharaj Satsang. So in the light of wisdom, and that's coming, how can it come? It can come who has already possesses the wisdom. When you sit near him, when you mingle with him, you get the wisdom from him. So this is when we close the eternal light of the God, which is coming. You don't need to see, and you are not supposed, you won't see the rays as such, but you still feel, because when your inside is lighted, you see the light. In the light of, you see yourself, and when you see yourself, then you can develop yourself, you can correct yourself. So these are the things you see in the light. You don't need to see the light. That's what my take is.
So I think Maharishi Patanjali talks about pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. So dharana is where we start our concentration. What should we manifest? What should we concentrate on? So light is what we imagine. So we should not spend too much time on where we are starting our meditation. When you go deep into meditation, you forget where you are, who you are, and where you started your meditation. So, but it is important what we're trying to manifest, because that's the last thought that we get before we go into deep meditation. So it is still very important, but we should not get stuck in that process. So, like, how am I visualizing? Am I visualizing or not? In that process, then you, stop yourself from going into deep meditation. So,
It should go into the heart. Your concentration should go.
Inwards and into, look into your heart. Yeah.
For the benefit of the younger generation that we talked about, I remember as a kid when I started practicing first, and my first thought was I'd sit, close my eyes, and all of a sudden, all worldly desires would come in front, either in form of pain or something that I'm deeply wanting. How do you get past that?
So actually, I was wondering, should I make this session longer or not? Because today I was thinking I should talk about the 3 states that when you start meditating, you get into. So one, Maharishi Patanjali, when he researched, he said, like, there are 2 energies within us. One is strong, fast, moving downwards, the dark energy. And then there is this positive energy, which is slowly moving upwards. So this is called Sat, the positive one, and Tam is the negative one. But then there is a combination of these called Raj. So at one point in time, one of these is a more dominant within us. So either it is Sat or Raj or Tam. People, those who don't meditate, who are not very spiritually inclined, Sat is very feeble. Raj and Tam, which is the dark energy and the blend, is what shows up most of the time. So what happens when, even if I initially, when I start meditating, when I close my eyes, sometimes I feel so fresh, so good, so positive. It's like I'm on cloud 9 already. So that's the effect of Sat. Then sometimes I feel like very lethargic, don't want to close my eye, I don't want to do any meditation. And even if I do, I see, nothing, right? So that is another, state, which is, so a lot of people get that and they think like, I am declining, I cannot meditate. That's not the case. It's just one state, and you have to cross this state as well. And then there are times when you close your eyes, a movie starts, thoughts, what am I doing? Sometimes thoughts of things that I have seen, not seen, and rapid succession of thoughts. So that is based on Raj. So initially, your Raj and Tam, which is the dark energy-based state, or the state of action, which is like lots of thoughts, those are prominent. But if you continue your practice, then the refreshing, positive, energized version, which you see every now and then, becomes more prominent. So those are the 3 states which drive our initial meditation states. Okay, so we can wrap up there, and I think,
stable.